Good morning and hello, everybody. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
And I'm the podfather of gaming, Stephen Bonacore.
All right, folks, welcome to Board Game Breakfast. Z Garcia had somewhere to be this morning, so Mike is covering for him after large threats were made.
Look, I don't want to say that they were empty threats, Tom, because that would not look good for me, but I'm happy to be here.
All right, folks. Well, we want to make you happy, so we're going to start with a worldwide contest this morning. This is sponsored by Floodgate Games, and this is for an upcoming game for them called Vivid Memories. And in fact, I believe we played Vivid Memories live was it during the Spring Spectacular, Mike?
That's correct, yes. We played that, and you and I and Roy, I believe, played that live.
Right, so you can go see how the game's played, but basically you're collecting fragments of your childhood memories, weaving a tapestry together, and you're going through that. It's very much an abstract game, don't get me wrong, but that's the theming behind it. Designed by the powerhouse designer team, Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert, and it's already funded on Kickstarter, so you can go check it out there. It's coming out in the future. Again, this is a worldwide contest. To enter this, you simply need to email us at contest@dicetower.com. In the subject line, put the word memories. Memories. Oh, anyway, in the subject line, that's by the way, most overrated music ever. In the body,
coming in hot.
It's so boring. Anyway, in the body, answer this question: what charity is Floodgate Games supporting with a portion of the proceeds? Answer that question, and in a week, somebody will win. Remember, you can always check out to see who's won previous contests by going to dicetower.com/contests. All right. Well, a couple more things. First of all, Dice Tower Retreat, which, if you've been noticing our library of amazement, that's going to be there. 200 people, games. I believe there's a few tickets left. If you want to get one of those tickets, if you want to come down to Miami in September and game with us, email Kenny@dicetower.com, and he'll get you on the list. But I would hurry because I really think that we are about to close that registration. In other news, I'm fat. You know how I know this? Mr. Bonacore told me I was fat. He poked my belly and said, Pillsbury Doughboy.
It's not exactly true, but it's not too far from true. Go ahead.
So, no, not actually. I believe in this case, I approached him and said, "You're fat." No, I didn't say that.
That's awesome.
I said a long time ago, Stephen wanted to do a contest with me about losing weight, and he said, "Let's start it on a certain date." And I started like a month early because I just felt like it.
And we didn't do it because that's
we didn't do it. So now we're doing it. He and I are having a contest to see who can lose more by July 1st. Now, this is not more weight.
Percentage of body weight method because
it has to be because I weigh 100 pounds more than he does.
Yeah, and he's a foot taller, so it makes sense. So that's okay.
Is this being independently verified?
Are you kidding?
What? So yes.
I don't know where
so
this
to
came from, but I found
to
a box of Krispy Kreme donuts.
I just wanted you to. So
you're such a jerk.
So to have this contest, I wanted to inaugurate this with a nice box of donuts for you. So
Wow.
I wouldn't say so. Nobody in
you
the
are
studio.
a jerk.
Nobody in the studio had anything to do with this. Don't take it out on them. But this got delivered just now to your studio. And
that's how we're playing this. All right.
You kidding
So
me?
I get a benefit. Looks like I'm going to be benefiting from your death match here. I'm excited about this. Keep sending the stuff, Steven. Keep sending things. I'm going to give you a list of things that you should send Tom to tempt him. They may be my favorite food items, but that's completely a coincidence.
Okay.
All right. Well, after we see who wins this, on July, at the beginning of July is the Summer Spectacular. So there or close to that time frame, when we fit it in, the loser gets pied by the winner. Because we did not pie each other in 2020, and that was very disappointing. But COVID, you know.
Yes. So
now
and as a reminder, we've played 2 dexterity games to date, and who has gotten pied twice?
I've gotten pied twice.
Yes, he has. So this is now, I'm going to lose more weight on a percentage basis, and he will be pied a 3rd time. Guaranteed.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
making
we'll see.
big money
We'll
bets
see.
on it. Anybody want to
being independently verified by a major accounting firm? I want to make sure that this is all on the level here.
I think we're going to send pictures. I think of the we'll see.
We took pictures of our weight of our scales. We're not going to point out what those scales were. I'll use the same scale again and again, and we'll make it happen.
All right, we got to get rid of this pandemic. The pandemic 20, Bonacker calls it, and I would love to say it was 20 in my case.
We all went out. We all protected ourselves from COVID-19 by adding the COVID 20 onto our waistline. So it's got to go.
All righty. Well, we got a lot of things to talk about here, folks. We're going to do the news in just a minute, but first, some contributors.
Have a donut, Tom.
Hi, I'm Tim.
I'm Lizzie.
And we are To Play
Or Not.
To Play, a show about board games for two players.
Whose tastes may differ.
Good morning.
Morning. Welcome back to our top 10 games we like to play together. Woo-hoo. Today is number 3. Ooh, and today number 3 is...
Very special to us, this one. Roma.
We love it.
Why?
We love all things Roman.
Why?
Because we've been to Rome.
We've been to Rome.
And
you've never been, you should go, seriously. Yeah, I mean, Roma, really nice, simple, two-player head-to-head game.
Yeah, it's a good duel game, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice little, it's a quick little game. Well, quick-ish, yeah, it's a quick game, but it's simple, in as much as there's a set of discs with dice numbers on them, and you get a set of 3 dice, and you get a certain number of cards in your hand and some victory points, and then basically you've got to win all the victory points that are left in the stockpile, or the other person has to whittle you down to 0 victory points. And the way that you do that is just by laying your cards against these dice stations, dice station zebra, and and then you activate those cards by rolling the dice, and if you get, say, a 3, you put it on the 3 indicator, and that activates that card.
Card 3,
and they're all different things that they do, a bit like in Dominion, say, where a card does X, which might be attack the other side, or it might be to get you more victory points, or you can claim some money, and you need money because you pay money to lay the card in the first place.
I really like the cards. The cards are really well illustrated, and they're all names something different. So I like forum,
Legionnaire,
Legionnaire.
So there's people and there's buildings.
Very Roman, which is great.
Yeah, it's really
and they've all
nice.
got individual actions as well, which is I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah. So it just says it says on the card what it does. So quite straightforward. It says this card attacks the card opposite. So if you lay that card and pay enough money. So you pay the money to lay the card, and then roll the number that it's against. You action that, and it attacks the person on the other side, which is her. So yeah, it's a great kind of bit to take that. Or there's things where it says you can steal one of your opponent's victory points, or they have to give you one of their cards, or you can copy the last card they played. Whatever, all sorts of really nice little neat.
But it's not
powers.
too in depth for someone like me who prefers the less in depth game.
Sure.
So it's it meets us in the middle. Hence why it's at number 3.
Absolutely. So there you go. That's our top 10, number 3, Roma by Stefan Feld. What a dude. Check it out. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
Bye.
I think it's about time we get to know me, so we can see how crazy I am. God, who cares? I've been a professional performer for 30 years. Why is he crazy? How come he's different than me? And having worked in psychiatry for 20 years, what you don't like about them might be something you don't like about yourself. Hang around with people you love. And I take advice from my brothers and sisters. And people whose hands are bigger than my face. has its advantages. Yeah, you're a freak. And I got so many stories that you'd laugh at. I actually went to Juilliard in New York City, and I got physically thrown out. I didn't do anything. So with all this experience I have, I suggest, as a new wargamer, you want to try something? World of Tanks. Ogre. By Steve Jackson Games. An icon of a game. You know, let's say you just want to dip your finger in, because this is my story, right? Look. Invaders from Dimension X. Inexpensive. But this one is priceless, because it's signed by Dream Team designer Herman Latman. You wanna learn about supplies? Subconsciously they put it in. Save the cute little runts. Save them from the bad eagles. How do you save them? Well, strategy. But you don't know that. You're just playing save the animal. Huh? Come on. Let's go play Robin Hood. Play Robin Hood. Then come and talk to me. You know, you want to play a war game? Play a war game. You don't want to play a war game? Don't play a war game. Hey, I take any experience that comes around and I learn from it. Have a good day!
Mike, can you hear me?
I can hear Mike.
All right, I think Mike has lost sound. All righty, well, eventually he'll get sound back. But hey, we're back. And can you hear us now, Mike? Well, that's why I use a wired headphone. I bet his headphones went out.
Myself, too.
Well, yours out, too? Can you hear me, Barnacle?
I hear you fine.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
We're about to do the news here, folks, while I am trying to not eat donuts.
Oh, come on. Just one. One can't hurt.
All right, well, me and Bonniger are going to start looking at the news, and Mike will catch up when his headphones work. So we're going to start by taking a look at It's a Small World from Disney. It's called Disney It's a Small World. I am really curious if like the Days of Wonder thing is, if there's going to be any confusion there at all.
What do you mean, confusion?
Well, Small World.
Oh, that's funny. No, I didn't even think about that.
No, I mean, the box covers don't look anything alike.
All I thought about was, it's a small world after all. And this is going to be playing in everybody's head right now for the rest of the day, because that's what it does.
I couldn't hear you for a while, but now I'm good. You can hear me, yes?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I'm glad I came in on this, because It's a Small World is something I wanted to bring up. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, It's a Small World was not a very popular ride. It was the ride that if you got super hot, you would go there because you could cool down and there was never a line. So I feel like all of a sudden It's a Small World has become like this, it's the hip thing now. But did you guys ever actually go on It's a Small World?
Donuts.
Did Mike just say anything?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That donut looks so good, Tom, doesn't it? Anyway,
yeah.
Okay,
did you hear that?
Yeah.
All right.
Now can you hear me?
Yes, you hear sound.
Well,
good.
we always could hear you, but it just was bad sounding.
No, we heard the whole.
It's always bad sounding.
Have some more donuts.
I'm sorry. It's a complete catastrophe. It's all falling apart, and it's all my fault.
Well, quick question, because we've already derailed. Bonniger, do you like the ride or not?
I do. I mean, I actually do.
I agree. I think the ride gets a bad rap.
Yeah, no, it's a beautiful, like a dream sequence around the world. Yeah, it's better for kids, of course. It's a children's thing, but it's beautiful. I think it's beautiful, and they've upgraded it a little bit, but still, it's got that quaint. I like it. I go on it every time I go to Disney.
I like it too. There's a secondary reason. In Orlando, Disney is very hot, and Small World is really air conditioned.
It's cold in there. Yes.
That's exactly it. I think that's
every time I get on, like,
attraction to the air conditioning. That's what I'm saying.
All right, so let's get back on topic here. A board game is being made by Funkoverse or Funko Games on this. I hope it's good. So far, their Haunted Mansion I liked, though some people did not, and the Riverboat ride was terrible. So, are they gonna have
they've made other ones like this? I actually didn't even know other Disney rides. Okay,
I guess they're gonna get them all eventually.
I didn't know that. But I love the fact that it's actually a 3D game, right? I can see you're in the little boat, I guess, right? That's your boat, and you're going around.
It looks like it.
It looks adorable. I have no idea what this game is going to be like, but I think it'd be great for kids. It's a kids game.
I'm sure it'll be charming.
All right. So one of the biggest German companies is Amigo. They have an American branch, which is not nearly as big as their German one. And I forget the name of the gentleman who ran that, but
Jeff is his name. I can't remember.
Jeff. Right. Jeff. Well, either way, he has been replaced now by Alex Yeager. Alex Yeager used to be the president and who ran Mayfair Games. Mayfair Games was then bought by Asmodee and dissolved, essentially. And Alex has been involved in the industry in minor ways. But I think this is pretty decent-sized news. Alex is a very gung-ho person, did a really good job at Mayfair's presence. If you went to Origins or Gen Con in the past decade, before Mayfair disappeared, their presence was phenomenally big. You did not miss Mayfair, and Alex had a lot to do with that. Those little sheep puppet things that they did, that was, I think, his brainchild. He was actually the voice of one of them. So I'm looking forward to, I think I would like to see more Amigo stuff hit America, and I think this will be a good thing.
Yeah, I always like the Amigo card games. I feel like they really have that nice little niche of those great little card games.
Alex is awesome on every level. He's just a fun, friendly, engaging, big bear of a guy. He's going to do great here. I mean, he did great at Mayfair, like you said, and he's going to do fantastic. So congratulations to him on this. It's fantastic news.
All righty. This was a surprise that came out of nowhere. The Game Center of Fantasy Flight. Mr. Bonkar, have you ever been there?
I have not been there, and that is something I have to rectify, especially now.
It is an amazing place. I've been there once, and I really enjoyed it. And it's now been bought by Christian Peterson. So this is a really unusual story. So Christian Peterson was the president of Fantasy Flight Games. Fantasy Flight Games was acquired by Asmodee, who, as part of that deal, Christian Peterson became the North American president of Asmodee. He left that position a little over almost 3 years ago now, and went to Silicon Valley, and I'm not sure what he was doing, really, but he now has bought back the Game Center from Fantasy Flight Games and renamed it the Game Center, which I'm not sold on that name, but it's a mix of game, Zen. And center.
Yeah.
I don't know.
This was we did this article and the last one on Board Games Insider, and this was like we were like saying like this is like news about great people in the industry. So Chris Peterson leaves mostly the industry, and he does this basically to almost give back to the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, St. Paul, because this was like, and I've heard, and you've said, and Zev has told me that this is like a mecca for like, board gamers, just a great place. It's got food, it's got game space, it's got games, it's got everything.
You could hold a small convention there, like our retreat could be held there.
Yeah, and I think it's just an amazing thing that Chris, said, they were probably on the verge of closing it down or maybe scaling it back, or they've got to worry about their costs and stuff at Asmodee. They're that big, and they've got to kind of not that they're public, but they've got to report back on costs to the owners of that. So this is like almost Chris saying, well, I live in this area, I'm giving back. I'm going to buy this, and we're going to keep this open, and we go. And obviously, he's got the money to do this. So I was like, kudos to Chris for doing this. Awesome.
So I asked.
It's very interesting timing. I mean, this is an interesting time to be doing this, right? I mean, with people still getting back to meeting. I mean, I hope that this kind of pumps something into the local economy as well.
I asked them, the guy who sent the press release, I said, is it a simple rebranding the store, or is it a new chain of stores? And the response was, the immediate practical result is the branding of a store with no further news on the horizon, but you might talk to us in the future type thing. So that's interesting.
Yep.
Yeah. For sure.
I will say this feels like yet another nail in the coffin of Fantasy Flight, though. It just feels like, meh. So folks, from this picture you can see here, that game center is directly sitting across this. There's like a parking lot there. You can see part of it. and across that parking lot is Fantasy Flight. They're right across from there. So people from offices, after they're done working at Fantasy Flight or like on their lunch break, could go over to the game center, which I thought was really cool. 17,000 square feet. Whew.
That is huge.
Massive.
That's great. That is awesome.
Really
All
is.
right. We now have one or two games to talk about, so let's jump into it. First, from Yellow, we have Last Message. One person's trying to deliver a secret message to everybody else, and someone else is trying to thwart their communication. This sounds like it's in the line of the crypto, almost.
Yeah.
It's a 3 to 8 player game. How much you want to bet we end up playing this at the gathering? I feel like this will be one that will be shown off there. I'm intrigued by this.
Yeah, I think these next few games we're talking about are mostly larger group games, and so I think that these types of games work well in larger groups.
This is a party game of sorts, and
for the
it's
most.
my thing. I like this. This
It does
should be
require
cool.
some thinking, though.
Yeah.
So let's not get too excited.
Yeah. No,
All
this
right.
is good. This is good.
Then we have Ali and Polly. I think.
Uli
Is it
and Puli.
Uli and Polly?
Uli and Polly. Ali and Polly. I don't know.
I wonder if
Uli
this
and
is like an IP I don't know about from Blue Orange. Anyway, this is a 2 to 5 semi-cooperative game. One player is competing against the others. That's not actually the definition of semi-co-op.
Right.
That's one versus all, but maybe they're just using a semi-co-op. It's from Roberto Fraga, and I like his stuff.
Yeah.
Sheep are a little overdone in the board game world.
We just played a sheep game from AEG.
Oh, that's right. You did. You played that.
That's right. We did Sheepy Time.
Sheepy Time, which was excellent, which was a lot of fun. What is the concept in this game? I don't mind. I like sheep, so I think this is kind of cool. What are you doing in this game?
One player is a wolf, it looks like, and everyone else is working together to help the sheepdog. It looks
You know
like.
what this sounds like? It sounds like that Firefly game for kids, where there was one tile, one person put the tile out, and then everyone's trying to figure out where that tile is, where everyone else closes their eyes. There's some similar things to this. It really sounds. I wonder if it's actually the same game.
I'm not familiar with which one you're talking about.
I am not either.
You don't mean Firefly the IP. You mean literally a Firefly.
No, it's a Fireflies game. Maybe it was Yetis in it. I forget what it was. It was like kids at camp, and this Yeti was coming out and getting you. It wasn't that.
Okay.
It was like more like
Sure.
Goosebump style. And it sounds very similar.
Well, Roberto Fraga and Blue Orange, that's a good combo. So
I agree. The next one Mike's excited about, Mean Girls the party game.
yeah, stop trying to make fetch happen, Tom.
I'm one of the people who doesn't get the appeal of Mean Girls. I know a lot of people really like that movie.
The movie was very good.
Well, my problems with it, I went on a long rant yesterday about this in the thing where movies do not know how to portray accurate high schools. It really bugs me.
They don't.
Oh,
And
yeah,
this is the very epitome of that.
Yeah. The concept of this game is terrifying from what little I understand. Because isn't it basically you're supposed to be like writing things that are somewhat mean, and then you have to read out loud what you said at the end potentially?
Yeah, no.
I didn't.
No.
I didn't put a lot of work into it, but that's terrifying.
No. I'm out of this one. Let's move on.
Yeah.
You're getting it for your birthday.
I don't want this game. Now this one.
Snakes. I feel hypnotized by this box cover.
But
that is pretty crazy.
I wonder if people can see it on the computer screen, that they're looking on or their iPads. But the box is an optical illusion that is moving as you look at it. It's awesome. This game will sell based on this box. This is awesome.
That I'm not convinced on.
I mean,
they've done this. They've done this before. Chameleon was also an optical illusion.
I was just going to say Chameleon is what kind of strikes to mind with this.
I'm trying to see if I can see it on the screen too.
Phil Walker Harding is the designer, or it was one of the co-designers. That should make you interested right then and there.
That's what got my attention, was the Phil Walker Harding vibe.
But I like the idea that it's very similar to Werewords, where you're asking a question, the snakes know the right answer, and they want you to not pick the right answer.
Right.
So I like that idea a lot.
Mm-hmm. It should be fun. I'm not a big party game guy, but that one sounds like one I would try.
All right, it's time for more than meets the eye. Renegade Games announced they're working with Hasbro to make the Transformers deck building game. Now, this is designed by Dan Blanchett and Matt Hyra, who designed the Power Rangers deck building game. That's not out yet. That's coming out, I guess, any day now. Eric Martin said on Board Game Geek News that the two games would not be able to be combined, which I guess is okay. It's not like I've been dying to play Power Rangers versus Transformers.
No.
I really like the Transformers collectible card game.
I don't want to sound
good.
Yeah, I don't want to sound too cynical or negative on this because, I just don't. But I'm a little afraid that it's getting to be almost a crutch to just put an IP onto a deck building game. And, how is this different from the myriad of other, what I assume are entry level? I'm assuming this is a relatively entry level deck building game. What is it? Just the IP? I suppose if you like the Transformers and you don't have 2 or 3 other, deck builder, entry level deck builders, maybe you'd be interested. But
that's the thing, though, Mike. I love Transformers.
Yeah.
I want it based on that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Even if it's based on similar to the DC deck building system, which you didn't love.
I'm going to get mad. I know I'm going to be disappointed. I know I'm going to be unhappy. But right now, let me be happy a Transformer game exists.
Tom, you be happy.
I'm not a Transformer fan per se.
Well, yeah, because your Looney Tunes were when you were a kid, right?
Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously, this was during when I was a kid, sort of, at least. But no, I just not. I just man. I'm not just. It's just not. Transformers never did anything for me at all.
What about
but a good game.
GoBots guy, Steven?
But a good game is a good game. Shush.
All right.
What is GoBots? What is that?
GoBots. That's like that was the second tier competitor to Transformers.
Yeah, it was the B team. It was the B team of the Transformers.
I know they exist because that's what my parents bought me because Transformers were too expensive.
I was more a Voltron guy, but that's just me.
All right. Crimes and Capers is another game coming from Renegade. Looks like there's 2 titles here. They're cooperative games. They're like a murder mystery escape room. They actually sound very similar to the adventure games, but set in a somewhat modern setting. There's another high school one. And Last Wishes. I hope these are good. They sound interesting. The cover's looking good.
Wait, so these are like murder mysteries, like the ones that we used to play in the box, with the little cassette tape, that murder mystery?
Well, yeah, I think so, but you're just figuring out puzzles. But I think it's more about, how an escape room game, it's about the puzzle first. I think this is more about the story first. Like using clues. Maybe it's like Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective a little bit more, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I really love those. What are they called again? I just can't get it into my head. Those, the ones you used to see all over the time. Murder. I actually have them still in my collection.
The Murder Mystery Dinner Party games, right?
Murder Mystery Dinner Party, is that what it's called? Murder Dinner Party, something like that. I love those things, and I have a whole bunch.
I've never done one.
Really? We're gonna do one. We have to do one. We have to find a cassette player to play the silly cassette that's in there.
Well, I'm sure that someone has put MP3s of all this stuff on the internet somewhere.
Someplace it must be there.
You don't have a cassette player in your Buick, Steven? I mean, can't you just fire that up? And
there you go. No.
All right. Let's take a look at another game from Rio Grande Games called Art Deco. So Art Deco here is another game about art. This is from, I believe they attempted to kickstart it from Tate Wu. And the game was originally called Promenade. Now they've renamed it Art Deco. It's coming out Q4 of this year. But it has 5 different paintings. 5 different artists. One of them, Quanchi Mori, Allison Parks, Heather Vaughn.
It took me a second to realize why it's called Art Deco with putting a K in there. Yeah. It's a deck building. Well, I'm a jerk. Yeah, Art Deco is obviously a style. Art Deco is deck building.
This gives me a strong pastiche vibe, or even some of the modern art game versions of that. It could be good, but I'm concerned the cover's not very distinctive. You would think with an art-based game, but it's a matter
I
of
don't
taste.
disagree with you, but it sounds interesting. And Rio Grande's games, while no one's ever going to call them a looker,
Yeah,
lately they've been catching my eye with their stuff. So I'm kind of
you're
interested
right.
in that.
They've come out with some good stuff lately. You're right.
Yeah, art-based games are very interesting, and just because they just seem to always work. So this is of interest to me.
All right, it seems like this is a yearly thing now, an annual release from the Flat Out Games Collective. Molly Johnson, Robert Melvin, and Sean Stankiewicz. They originally, I think they produced on their own, but AEG picked them up. The first one, the very, very popular Point Salad. Last year we had Truffle Shuffle. This year we have 10. I don't know. I guess they're not following any kind of theme here.
Actually, there's going to be 5 games from that collective that we're going to be talking about. This is the first of them.
Wow.
Oh, this is the first one. Got it. All right. I should have known that because I did look at the news ahead of time. So this one is for 1 to 5 players, coming out Q3, a push your luck auction game. I hope it's good because it looks a little generic. It's nice graphic design, but it's just numbered cards.
Very generic looking, as you said.
It looks like something you could buy at Target or
And next one is, I'm sorry.
What's the next one?
Dollars to donuts.
Oh, Mike, what do you have in front of you there, Mike? Can you show that?
What's that?
What's that box there? There you go.
I remember when this was on Kickstarter because we talked about this. Mike, do you remember?
We did, yes.
I like Dollars of Donuts. It looks interesting. I like putting the tiles down to form complete donuts. I hope it's a good game, but it's about donuts. I'll eat a donut when we play this game, and not before. That's a lie. But
me neither. I will not eat a donut before we play this game.
You play that game.
All right, then jumping to Abstract Academy. This is you are sharing a canvas with other people for creations. You're laying out scoring cards and then inspiration to put patterns on a canvas. This one doesn't sound interesting to me, but maybe in practice it will be better. I like the design. I think that's a cool cover.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty striking cover. Just simple, but it works.
They're again going with an art theme here, but this one does not look quite as interesting in its implementation. I mean, I like more the background that they put over there with the red, blue, yellow pattern, whatever that is. It's not really part of the game.
It's about the gameplay, though, right? Because I may be in the minority here, but I didn't think Point Salad was that exciting of a game to look at. But I know, Tom. It's all right. It's fine. The gameplay, though. That's what
lunch is. All right. Cascadia. Now, this one's not designed by that team. Flat Out is publishing it. This is the designer's Randy Flynn. This was also a Kickstarter game. I remember talking about this one.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a puzzly tiling, token drafting game about animals from the Pacific Northwest. Again, I hope this one's good. Again, it looks like other things, but I've learned to not take this at face value.
Now, this game's right in my wheelhouse. I actually backed it. I'm looking forward to it.
Continuing on. Mike said there was 5. Here's the 5th one, Verdant. Yep. This one's from Aaron Mesborn and Kevin Rust. This one is actually going to Kickstarter, so you can put this one out of your brain for the most part, folks. It's not coming out till 2022. You're arranging house plants and objects in your house. I play this game every day.
It's pronounced verdant, as in very green.
It's like green and
very green. Yes,
it's beautiful. I believe it's Beth Sobel art, and it looks gorgeous to me. I know we've had a lot of these kind of nature-based, serene themes. I don't hate that. I think especially in puzzle-type games, I think they work well. I'm hopeful. I hope this one does well.
All right. The Quacks of Quedlinburg is coming back. The second expansion was actually never put out in America from North Star Games, who I'm not sure how the license went away from North Star, but the new license is now owned by CMYK. They have the license, and they're going to be publishing Quacks and Quacks of Quedlinburg and its expansion, and then the new expansion, which is the Alchemist. The other expansion was the Herb Witches.
Right. Now, am I correct that the big box that is coming out does not have this expansion. It has the base game and the Herb Witches, but not this.
Yeah, that was a really weird announcement that it didn't include both expansions. I was super confused by that.
I was too. Yeah, okay.
I'm assuming BGG is glad to hear this so they can keep selling those upgraded bits.
Yeah.
I think Quacks is on its way to becoming an evergreen. I think this is a game that will still be being played in 5 years. I really do think that this could be coming close to one of those modern classic games. People love Quacks.
It's certainly an evergreen from a perspective that it's going to sell over time. But
Sure.
I agree that it's getting to a point where it could be one of those games that you're literally going to be hearing forever.
Right.
I like it a lot. I actually still don't own it because I'm scared to own it. And then, of course, I have to go buy those bits because those bits are so good. So
Yes, they are.
I probably will do it. I'm going to steal the one from your library, one or the other.
No, we have them all microchipped. All right. Catan. You know those new Apple things that came out? I bought one for every game. And now I'm broke. Anyway, Catan has a new expansion coming out. Well, not totally new. It's a re-release of a bunch of old scenarios and stuff all put into a box called Treasures, Dragons, and Adventurers. Not only did they go back and find older scenarios, they apparently went back to 1990 when getting the graphic design and cover for this box.
I was very surprised by that. I'm like, man, this is throwback for sure.
That is such a boring-looking cover.
Well, it's the Catan brand, right? That's the way they put the.
I really feel like they could make Catan look so much more interesting. It's not that the game has to look bad. I mean, the game's fine.
So this is
this is coming out really soon. It's coming out in June. I got the notice from Asmodee.
So this is only for seafarers. It is seafarers and other things in the box, right?
Yes, it's an expansion for an expansion.
Okay, it's not Catan. It's the Seafarers version, or
no,
is
you need Catan, and you need the expansion Catan Seafarers. Seafarers is an expansion for Catan.
All right, okay. I thought Seafarers was a standalone game. No, it's the. There are a couple of other ones that are standalone, but Seafarers is an expansion. Roger. Never played Seafarers.
All right, Imaginarium is a weird, funky-looking weird game, and now a new game is coming out from the same publisher, Bombix, Nicodemus. At the two-player version, or a two-player game set in that universe from Katala and Florian Siriex. Yay, because I've always wanted to. I've never played Imaginarium, and the art hasn't made me rush in to do so. I think, Mike, you've played it.
It's in my top 100, actually, Tom. I like Imaginarium.
I don't remember your top 100.
And I played it was it this year? I might have played it earlier this year. I played the expansion with Z. I like it. I'm excited about this, although I'm not a big two-player gamer. It's just not typically how I play, but I'm definitely interested to give it a shot.
All right. And then, no joke, this is the game I'm most excited about today. And that is, despite its cover, Rolling Dice.
I almost didn't put this in the news, Tom. I'm glad you're excited. I almost didn't put it in.
Well, the cover looks like a roll and write, one of those those lazy roll and write covers that there's so many of.
Hey,
exploding dice coming at you. Yeah.
Rolling rights are the best. Go ahead, keep going.
I'm not saying roll and writes are bad. I'm saying the covers for them are boring. They always show dice coming at you.
Well, if they're non-thematic, what are you going to put on the cover?
Folks,
the
just
dice.
as an aside here, Mr. Bonnegar has published many of these games. This is why he's defending this stupid practice.
No, I'm defending it because I understand the difference between themed games and non-themed games.
Sure, but if you show me one of those roll and writes, I don't know what's different than the other one.
Oh, please. Yes, you do. Of course you do. Every one of those roll and writes in my series, you can tell the difference by looking at the cover and, of course, the back of the box. Never mind. Keep going. This looks beautiful.
I gotta tell you, this game has a lot to overcome, Tom, to be exciting, because not only is the cover bad, that title is pretty uninspired, too.
Oh, yeah, I got that, too. It's called Rolling Dice. It's like,
right.
But doesn't it look
It's not even
fun,
a pun,
though?
as far as I know.
You're rolling dice onto this big ice floe that looks like the box opens up or something and becomes a board there. Yep. And there's and you're just rolling dice into it. It's like a dexterity and trying to land on ice floes. This is like tumbling dice to me, that kind of thing. I love this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that was also in the Wreck Raiders game where you'd roll dice and they had to like land in certain parts of the box top. Remember that? Gives me a little bit of that vibe too.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the games, folks. Let's talk about a few items in the industry, and we'll be back. First of all, Gen Con badge registration is coming soon, May 23rd.
Awesome. This is great news.
They're capping.
Conventions are back.
You were right, Mike. He said exactly what Mike said. Mike was like, Bonker's going to go. This is great news.
It is great. Screw you, Mike. This is amazing news.
No, I just knew you would be very excited to talk about this.
Yeah. Who sent you this news? It was me.
Anyhow, they're going to cap it. I want to say they're capping it at 30,000 as opposed to the normal 60,000. I might be wrong there, but I know they're capping it.
They said between 30 and 40, which is basically half of its. Gen Con is around 70,000 these days.
You know what's funny, though? I was at Gen Con when it was like 25,000, and it felt crowded then. So I don't know that I'm going to notice too much.
Well, they're going to be constraining the space, too. So, yeah, it's going to – I have a feeling it's not going to look substantially less crowded. But I'm just excited by this. I have
the same feeling. Yeah, I think it's not going to be quite as different as maybe we may be expecting.
UK Games Expo, and this is even more important because they're earlier than Gen Con by a month, actually. Mm-hmm. July 30th to August 1st, making them the first major con in board gaming to open. So this will be interesting. Now, they've listed a whole pile of what they're going to be doing. If you attend the show, you have to have a negative lateral flow test. Is that just like a negative COVID test, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Do we know what that is? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a negative COVID test.
Why don't they just call it that then?
I have no idea.
Okay. Anyway, now this seems like it's going to be tough, though. Everybody has to get a test 24 hours of attending. That seems like that would be a tough thing to do.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they're also going to say or have been vaccinated. Maybe it looks like they're not because they were.
Yeah, they didn't even mention vaccinations in the thing.
This was very interesting news because yes, there are strict guidelines on how to attend and how the attendees will be, seated and in the halls. They went through, and this is something that Gen Con should be putting out. I mean, and they have extra time. They've got an extra month to do this, obviously. But they gave you this, you can only see on the screen, like, number one, confidence in our attendees. And there were like 4 different levels that they were saying, these are the ways we're going to keep you safe. And it's called #PlayWithConfidence. I was very excited by this. Again, first major convention. They are about a 35,000 person convention, very large. And they are taking these very good measures to keep everyone safe. Kudos to them. Very happy.
That being said, this convention, obviously all conventions are going to be stymied by certain things. And I know for a fact that this one's going to be basically UK only presence. Because if you go to UK, at least as of now, there's a 10-day quarantine. And it would be very expensive for a publisher to have to stay in the UK an extra 10 days just to attend the con.
Yeah. Agreed. I was going to go this year maybe, but obviously not on the current situation. So I'm going to try to get there next year.
All right. And finally, we got 2 more things here. Wizards of the Coast is lifting the ban on Magic the Gathering in-store play on May 28th. Now, of course, this is obviously still under the jurisdiction of the state/city/store itself, but they banned these events. And one local game store I talked to said that they don't miss the events because they're making the same amount of money without them.
Wow.
But
that's interesting. But this again is great news because we're now we're getting ourselves back. They had just lifted the ban literally like a week before this announcement, maybe 2 weeks ago, for Japan. And of course, everyone was like, well, okay, that's great. But what about the U.S.? And then boom, they did the U.S. Removing the U.S. ban as well. So, kudos to them to do it right, to wait till the right time. I'm not a Magic player, but I think this is great. To have the largest company in the industry to know that it's the right time to start doing this.
By the way, some people in chat here have noted that lateral test that we were talking about earlier. So they said it's a fast test. You get the results in 30 minutes, and everyone can get them in the UK for free. Right. And they can do it self-serve test. You can order 7 at a time.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool because that way I was thinking, I don't want to have to go stand in line for 2 hours before I go to a con, but that would make it better.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've had a fast test here. I never heard of the term, as you said, but I've had one of those, and yeah, you get them like immediately, and that's great and fantastic. I just order a whole bunch and then get in the morning. Here's my test. I'm done. Great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and finally, in news that is only going to happen this year, Target is stopping the sales of Pokemon cards. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with this, folks, the trading cards in general, Mr. Bonnick was telling us before the show, sports cards sales have gone up tremendously, and Magic the Gathering and Pokemon have both just gone bananas. People are buying trading cards everywhere. And so if you notice here in the sign, starting May 14th, which is tomorrow, so run to your stores today, they're no longer selling sports cards and Pokemon cards. And they put that underneath the pictures of Magic cards. But anyway, the Pokemon thing is especially uncool, in my opinion. The fact that adults are going and buying up a lot of stuff that kids want and want to be able to play and now can't because they're not scalping like these adults are. I find that to be bleh. But you can't stop it either. So Target is worried about scalpers, so they're stopping this.
Yeah, I have a very good friend of mine who is a big collector of cards, but a seller of these things. And I actually spoke to distributors about this, getting him to be able to start buying from distributors. They have never seen anything like what they're seeing right now in the sports card arena. Magic, of course, has been popular in Pokemon. But sports cards were like dead for years. Sports cards now, and the amount of money being made in the aftermarket for sports cards is unbelievable. A single card could go for tens of thousands of dollars if you get it, because it's so rare. And they're current people. It's not like having a Babe Ruth card, right? Or something like that I would want to have. You know, or a Tom Seaver card from when I was Tom Seaver when I was growing up. Thank you very much. But like, I don't even know the people that they're talking about. That these cards are worth tens of thousands of dollars because they're so rare, and it's this person's rookie card, and they're supposed to be a great rookie and things like that. Crazy numbers.
Tom Seaver, that's just an interesting pick.
Why was that an interesting pick? He was my biggest hero in sports when I was growing up.
Not Steve Carlton.
Dude, I grew up in New York. The New York Mets, Tom Seaver, 1969 World Series. That was my guy.
Yeah, I'm glad you're still living in the moment of 40-some years ago. All right.
Weren't those the years that they were getting dominated by the Dodgers, Steven?
That's when folks, that's when I was collecting cards.
We need to move the show. Let's jump into contributors. We'll be back with a game show, and we'll talk more about how the Mets suck later. Here we go.
1969 Mets, greatest team.
Hi, I'm Ambie, and today I'm going to talk about my process of making print and play games. With some print and play roll and write games, you just need to print out a sheet of paper or just keep a digital version of it and write on the computer, but I'll go over some of my methods for making more involved print and plays that include cards. Also, I mostly make print and plays to be playable and not very fancy, but you can make them a lot nicer and fancier if you want to. Firstly, one thing you need is a printer and some paper to print out all the files. I just print out on regular paper most of the time. I've tried doing cardstock, but my printer doesn't really like that, so most of the time I stick to just regular paper, single-sided. Another tool that's really useful is a laminator. This is super useful for roll and write games because if you want to play a game repeatedly, then laminating a sheet and using dry erase markers is a lot less paper and printing than printing it out each time. For making cards, single-sided cards are pretty straightforward. For me, I just print it on regular paper, then cut it out and put them into card sleeves. I like putting playing cards behind the card to give it like a thick card feel, and that actually helps a lot. Double-sided cards are more difficult because for me, it's difficult to align double-sided printing, and so I end up just printing two single-sided pages and then putting them together in sleeves. There's a lot of cutting out of components in print and play games, of mostly cards and some tokens and stuff, but I've mostly been using scissors because before this I didn't have any fancy cutting tools. The last thing that you'll want if you do a lot of print and play games is a lot of dice and tokens of different colors, because print and play games generally don't come with all of the dice and tokens you need, but if you just have a lot of generic ones, you can use those for the components in a lot of different games. Over on Board Game Geek, there's a lot of free print and play games that I've been going through, and there's also a very active and helpful print and play forum. So if you want to get into print and play, you can look over there and join the community. Bye!
Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex. Today, I want to recommend the game Santa Monica. And honestly, I wish I had played this earlier because this would have made my top 10 games of 2020 list. Santa Monica has a unique, refreshing theme. Honestly, there's only so many games I can play about being an elf or a wizard before I'm like, yo, get me to the beach. This game does not have spells, but what it lacks in spells, it makes up for in charm. You get what I did there. In Santa Monica, you will be drafting cards from the available set and adding it to your personal beachfront tableau. Certain cards will get you immediate benefits. Other cards will have scoring options on them. You will be trying to move your tourists and your locals and your VIP around your tableau to get extra points. This game falls into that perfect category of game for me, where it has a lot of choices and a lot of replayability, but it's easy enough to teach to somebody and play it in under an hour. I love that. And I will say, I live near Santa Monica, and they kind of nailed it with this theme. You know, it feels like actual Santa Monica. Yes, Santa Monica has a boardwalk. Yes, Santa Monica has volleyball courts. Yes, Santa Monica cares about VIPs. The only thing this game is missing that would make it feel more like actual Santa Monica is weed shops and plastic surgery. I get it though, it'd be hard to put plastic surgery into a game. I mean, what would you do? Like make the player indicator a pair of duck lips? It's my turn now.
All right, folks, you've been waiting for it. It's been a long time coming, but it's time for the Italian off.
We're going there. Okay.
We're going there in the most loosest of settings because I used Italy to start my questions, and I don't. No, I stayed with Italy, kind of, sort of. Don't hold me too much. All right, so today it's
Tom's version of Italy.
Okay. Oh yeah, because it's so much different than your own. All right.
I'll show you my 23andMe. Go away.
That doesn't mean you know the culture.
I do though.
Okay, so anyhow, well, let's find out. The game is yet to begin. All right, so I'm going to ask a question with a numerical answer. You will both answer one after the other, but I want you to have your answer set before hearing the other person's answer.
Oh, I'm going to have to put it on my phone. I don't have anything to write with, so I'm going to put it on my phone.
Well, you could just put it in your head, Mike. You don't have to.
Okay. As long as I don't have to prove it. Okay.
We'll trust you.
I don't trust him. Okay.
Anyhow,
you'll be fine.
The person, you want to be closer than everyone else without going over. If you go over, you're automatically wrong. And I'm going to pick 4 random answers from people in chat. So if you have a chat, you can guess the answer. And I'll pick 4 of those. If you are the worst person, if you get it worse than everybody else, if all 5 other people, the 4 random person and your opponent, then the people will get a point. I mean, the people will get, 3 points for that, and the other person gets 1 point just because you were so bad. Wow. All right, I don't want to. If you get it better than everybody else, you get 5 points. If you beat all 5 other people, if you beat 4 of the other people, you get 3 points. If you beat 3, you get 1. Otherwise, you give the people 2 points.
All right, you got that, Steven? You got that?
Oh, I got it.
I will be announcing the scores just in case someone here is putting them on screen and can keep track of any of that. All right.
I can't keep track.
So,
Go ahead.
Good luck.
I looked up, and this is of 2019. I found the stats for Italy's import partners. This is business, Mr. Boniger. You should appreciate that. So just as a quick aside, who do you think their #1 import partner was in 2019? This is not for points.
It's not for points. It's just who was there? Who do they import the most goods from? I've
got an off the wall answer, but I'll let Steven go first.
I'm gonna go with China.
Okay, China was #3.
Okay, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go way off board here. I'm gonna go with someone from Northern Africa. I'm gonna go like Morocco.
No.
Okay, whatever.
No.
Anyhow, I'm not gonna even date now with a response. It's Germany.
Yeah, Germany was
their number one
my
import
second
partner.
choice.
Okay.
Germany and France were my other choices.
The numerical answer here is what percentage of their imports came from Germany? What percentage?
Okay.
All right. So what percentage of Italy's 2019 imports came from Germany?
Without going over. Okay.
All right. I have my number.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, Mike, just say your number.
32%.
8%.
32?
8%?
And Mr. Bonagor said 8.
Yes.
All right, let's see what the people said here real quick.
That's a weak.
No.
I got 31, 27,
you don't understand how
76, and 18.
It's
so the people.
So I won't be the highest. That's good.
So the people said 31, 27, 76, and 18. Mr. Bonagor said 8. Mike DeLisio said 32. Actual answer, 16%, which is quite high, actually.
That is very high.
Everybody went over except Mr. Bonagor, so he starts the game off with 5 points.
Oh, come on. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh.
Over, hey.
All right,
That's
question
ridiculous.
2. As of 2020, what was the median age of Italians? So for those of you who don't know, Mr. Bonagor, median is the very middle number if you lined everyone up in a row. It's not the average, the median age. You can use decimal points if you want to. The median age and it's interesting because I was looking at the chart and they have this median age. They're projecting it by like the year 2060 or 70, and it's going to be really high. I was pretty impressed with how high it went. But what is the median age right now? All right, hang on a second. We're going to wait till I get some people's choice answers, and they're coming in. I always wait a little bit. There we go. We'll start there, and there. All right, guys, go ahead. We'll start with Mr. Bonagor first.
34.9.
34.9. And Mike?
I'd say 32.6.
Ooh!
32.6. The people said 42, 46, 57, and 41.
Oh.
The actual median age in Italy is 47.3.
Wow. Oh, you were hinting that it was going to be high.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, our population is also aging quite a bit, but
so unfortunately,
that's higher than us.
You both gave the people. Actually, no.
No, I don't think so.
You both gave. So, Mr. Bonagor, you gave the people 2 points. No, because 3 of them were higher than you. They said 41, 42, and 46.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 points for the people. I need to write this on the people thing.
Ridiculous scoring system.
Mike, everybody was higher than you. So you gave 3 points to the people, but you also give a point to Bonagor.
This is a flawed system.
So for those keeping track, Steven has 6 points. You, the people, have 5 points, and Mike has 0.
What's also like a 0? A donut.
I was just about to say, my response to that was, and that's what happens when you eat donuts.
I guess. Yeah, no. This is clearly a flawed.
So I looked up famous Italians, and I thought for sake of political correctness, I wouldn't mention the number 1 response that came up. Instead, I'll go with the number 2.
Stephen Bonagor, Italian American.
Yes. Marco Polo. Everyone knows the famous explorer Marco Polo. Hey, board games. Many board games have been revolved around him. How old was Marco Polo when he died? Simple question. Mike's a history teacher. This should be in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, but come on now. I mean, I don't believe that Marco Polo was a young man when he died. I want to say he lived to a relatively.
Why are you talking out loud, Mike?
You shouldn't be talking out loud because I go take some information from you.
Perhaps, Stephen, I'm throwing you off the track.
Maybe you are.
This is what we Italians do. I'm going to go with 74.
Hang on. Okay, you're going to go 74, and I am putting the people's choices down. Mike's at 74. All right, Mr. Bonagor?
Mr. Bonagor went with a modest 57.
Oof.
57. Hey, the people said 59, 41, 21. 21. Did I read that right? I guess so. And 51.
Can't be.
Man, so I'm highest again? This is
You are highest again, but good news for, well, everyone but Mike. The answer is 69. 69. So that means, Mr. Bonacor, you beat everybody except one. So you got 3 more points. Mike was the worst, giving Mr. Bonacor another point, but 5 more points to the people also. Oh, 3 more points to the people. Sorry, I gave the people 5 points to begin with. I should not have done that.
Tom, have I been mathematically eliminated yet?
Not quite.
No, I'm working on it still. All right. So here's our current points. Mr. Bonacor, no, because there's only been 3 questions. So anything that's happened, you should be able to recover. Mr. Bonacor has 10 points. 10 points. The people have 6 points. Sorry, I said you had 5 last round, but you actually got 3 and 3, which makes 6. And Mike has 0. All right, let's move to food.
Now we're talking. All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Now,
this is easily the dumbest question on my thing today.
fantastic.
This is a date, so the farther in the year is the quote unquote higher number. Okay, what day is National Lasagna Day?
Oh my God.
There is no way you have any knowledge of this.
You want the month and the day.
I want the month and the day.
And I have to go first.
You do have to go first.
Well, no, but you have to write down your.
It doesn't particularly matter.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Well,
I do need to come up with mine.
Well, it does matter because you can't say
It does.
one more or one. Yeah. All right. The month and the day for National Lasagna Day.
I'm so proud of this question. It's
Every
so bad.
every day should be National Lasagna Day.
You know,
Steven, meat in lasagna? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes.
What type?
Oh, you ground beef. You know, seasoned,
Come
heavily
on,
seasoned.
ground beef, Tom. I call for a complete overall.
What?
This game is defunct.
What do you
It's
want?
called
You want
putting
sausage?
ground beef.
You
You
want
gotta put sausage.
No, in a lasagna? No. You ground
Sausage is
beef.
definitely better, but ground beef's okay. Do you put ricotta cheese in? Yes or no?
What's
First
cottage?
of all-
No.
First of all,
Go
it's
ahead.
ricotta. First of all, it's ricotta,
Yeah.
not
Oh
ricotta.
my word! Oh my word!
Yes, that's important. It's ricotta, not ricotta. Ricotta.
Ricotta.
And yes, of course you put.
Okay, Bonacor just lost a point.
Good.
Rude
I,
to
Tom,
the game
what I
show
do-
host.
All right,
I
Mike, are
change
you
it
ready?
up. I don't put the ricotta. What I do is I'll take mascarpone instead. It's a little
Ooh,
sweeter,
mascarpone.
but it's creamier. Yeah, I change
Mascarpone.
it because I'm not a big fan of ricotta, so I go with mascarpone instead. It's delicious.
I apologize for bringing this question up. What is your answer?
Mike,
forgot
you
my
ready?
answer.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I do have
It's
an
in your
answer in
head?
my head.
I'm
Yeah.
picking March 19th, which happens to be St. Anthony's Day, which is like the St. Patrick of.
Right, Mike. What's your choice?
I actually had March 12th in my head, which is a horrible answer now, but I'm going to stick with it because that's what I had.
The people
enough.
said May 23rd, May 27th, May 13th, and April 27th. Actual date, July 29th.
We lose again.
Unbelievably,
Yeah.
Mr. Bonacor gives the people 2 more points. Oh, they did have 2 more points for Mr. Bonacor earlier. I
still
forgot
give
about
you
that.
a point because I was before you.
No, you were worst again.
That's what I'm saying. I gave.
So you give Mr. Bonacor a point and the people 3 points. So this is where we're at.
Oh, welcome, people.
Including his lost point, Mr. Bonacor's total is 10. The people have 11. Mike has 0.
This is very important. I'm showing this
I'm
on the
consistent.
screen, mostly for Tom's edification. Bonacor
Again,
is
I don't care where you come from. That doesn't mean
90
you know about it.
almost 90% Italian. This is my 23andMe. I just want you to know that.
I'm mostly French. You don't see me sitting here pretending to be French.
Oui. Well, you
Better be
must
careful.
know
You're
c'est
about to sell
French.
a whole country. All
I
right.
also- I love the French.
Question
Stéphane
5.
Brisbois, he's my favorite Frenchman.
Question 5. We're going to stay on the Italian theme here. I want to know how many calories are in a Pizza Hut medium slice of cheese pizza.
Okay.
Cheese pizza.
Regular crust. Cheese pizza.
Medium. One medium cheese slice of pizza. Calories. This is important for me to know right now.
So
How
this
many
begs the
calories?
question, Tom. Is a large pizza slice larger than a medium pizza slice?
Yes. by very nature.
Yeah. Oh, yes. The answer
they
is
cut them into 8 slices each, Mike.
Yes.
Okay, so they do. Okay, that's okay. So that does matter a little bit. All right, I've got
folks,
an answer here.
I've done the math. Here's a side note for everyone out there. I've done the math, and I've yet to meet a pizzeria in my life where your best bet is always to buy the smallest size pizza. If you do math and figure out the area of the pizza, divide it by the price. I'm not kidding. It's always better to order smaller. Always.
And you know how cheap Tom is now. Just saying. I'm just saying. Okay. Very good.
No, I want more pizza. Wow, I got called cheap by Bonacore. That's like the worst insult I could think of.
Bonacore is a lot of things. But he's not cheap. All right. I'm
sure.
Who's got the first guess on this one? I think
I am.
It's me because you guessed the lasagna day.
I'm ready.
Or do you have people's choice?
I got the people's choices. Go ahead.
All right, I'm going to say it is 380 calories.
Okay.
I think you're over. I'm going to go with a medium, so I'm going to go 257.
All righty, and the people said 350, 735, 431, and 375.
Oh, we're going to do well here, I think. Or I'm going to do well, I think.
Actual answer, 220. Nobody gets points.
It's so funny.
Nobody gets points. You all went over.
Wow.
The reason I went as high as because I know that like a regular Italian from an Italian tossed pizza is under 250 on the large pieces, but I figured that they don't use the better ingredients and stuff, so maybe it's more calories. But oh wow.
Yeah.
Darn.
All right. Next.
Tom, I'm hungry for pizza. You want to go out for pizza later?
So I looked. I could eat a slice of a medium pizza. I'm fine. I just can't eat two. All right.
Do it. I'm going to send you a pizza.
So I don't know if y'all remember previously in time, we talked about the world's largest, the most expensive commercially available hot dog. Well, so now we're doing the same thing with pizza. In 2009, I think, Moon to Over Pizza Bar sold an 8 foot by 2 feet 8 inches pizza. It was 1.98 square meters. It had one topping. You had to give them 48 hours notice that you wanted it. I want to know, how much did it cost for this pizza? It's 21 square feet and 48 square inches.
8 feet
by 2 feet really sounds more like 16 square feet.
I was going to say, it sounds oblong to me. It doesn't even sound like a pizza, but...
It's oblong. It definitely is obviously like...
It's 8 feet by 2 feet, 8 inches.
Oh, okay. There you go. So, all right. So I missed the... It's like almost, 3 feet. All right.
Does that affect your answer at all?
Oh, it affects my answer, Tom. I've got triangulation going on. I've got ratios happening. You have no idea what's going on up here right now. No idea.
How much was this pizza you're asking?
Mm-hmm.
I am asking that. All right, I got the people's answers.
All right, I'm ready.
I am as well.
Go ahead.
Who's first?
You are.
I think it's you this time.
$149.
All right.
$149. You know what? I don't care. I had $400 in my head. $400.
$400. People said 515, 76, $999.50, and 500.
It's pizza.
Actual answer, $299.95.
$299.
I hate this game.
Once again, Mr. Bonacore beat everybody, giving him 5 points. Once again, Mike only lost two.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot savant of Italian food and culture. Thank you.
Actually, 3 people went out with you, Mike, so nothing happens. You don't give the people any points. So our current scores, 15 points for Mr. Bonacore, 11 points for the people, and no points for Mr. Delisio.
A humiliating affair. This is awful.
Final question. Mike, I tried to give you... All right, this was a history question.
History.
Right. Another very famous Italian, Leonardo da Vinci, also has board games made about him. Leonardo da Vinci is one of the most famous things he's known for are his notebooks, where he filled them with drawings. And one of the most famous notebooks is known as the Codex Hammer. It actually has another name, but they called it the Codex Hammer because Armand Hammer Sr. owned it, and when he died, it was auctioned off, and Bill Gates bought it. So this is a notebook. It's all about using water and things. It had a picture, I think, of a hot air balloon in it and all kinds of stuff. I want to know, he bought this notebook in 1994, 72 pages. Leonardo da Vinci wrote in his book from 1506 to 1510. I want to know how much Bill Gates paid for this notebook. And then you also have to tell me who owns the notebook now after the divorce. No, I don't know that answer. But how much did he pay for this notebook?
All right.
This was in 1994. I was in college at the time. Mr. Bonacor was already a grandfather.
I have no children.
I have zero confidence heading into this.
By the way, I'm not making that name up, folks. His actual name is Armand Hammer.
Yeah.
It's not a joke. His son is the actor. He was the main character from Lone Ranger.
Arnie Hammer is his name, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's very...
No, but I think Arnie is short for Armand, I think. Isn't it?
Oh, so it's a junior?
Maybe.
Very,
Anyway.
What do they have to do with baking soda, though? That's what I want to know. What's that?
He's very famous. Armand Hammer is a industrialist, the American industrialist. Very famous, very rich. Very rich.
All right, the people's answers were all over the place. All right, Mr. Bonner, what do you got?
I go first? I don't know about that.
No,
yeah?
I'm sorry.
It's me that goes.
Yeah, Mike, what do you got?
I got 1.2 million.
1.2.
You might do better because I went high. I went $27 million. This is Leonardo da Vinci's notebook.
That's a lot of lasagna. That's a lot of
lasagna.
The people said 150,000, 16.2 million, 950 million, and 5 million. Actual answer. So sorry, Mike. 30.8 million.
Really? Man.
Which means Mr. Bollinger beat everybody again.
By a lot.
Good news for you, Mike. You only lost to 3 people. So
fantastic.
You get the people 2 points. So final scores.
Okay.
Mr. Bonacor 20 points, the people 13 points, and Mike 0.
Tom, how many of those 13 points did I give the people? Do we know this?
You gave them
13?
quite a few, actually. Not all of them, but you gave them quite a few.
Did you notice how Italian I am? I'm just pointing.
Look at this. Look at this Italian bragging here. This is disgusting.
I'm Italian bragging.
Just I want to keep it in mind that whole score means nothing when compared to putting ground beef in a lasagna. That's all I'm going to say about that.
All right, folks. This has been a long show because of the news, so we better chat to some contributors, and we'll be back.
Hey everybody, Ron here. Today I'm back with another affordable board game. Today I'm going to talk about Unmatched. Unmatched is a game designed by Rob Davio, Justin Jacobson, and others, published by Restoration Games, plays 2 to 4 players, ages 9 and up, with a 20 to 40 minute playtime, and a $25 to $30 MSRP for the 2-player sets. Be the greatest fighter from history, legend, or fiction. To set up, you set out the game board to the side you prefer, take your Hero Mini and any ally tokens and place them on the board. Grab your 30-card deck and shuffle, draw 5 cards, and you're ready. On a typical turn, you have 2 actions chosen from the following in any combination. Maneuver. Draw 1 card, which is mandatory. Note that if you run out of cards, you do not reshuffle and take damage each time you would draw another card. Then you can move each of your fighters up to your move value. You can boost the movement by discarding a card for its move value shown here. You cannot move through enemies, but you can move through friendly fighters. You can scheme. Scheme cards allow you to do a variety of cool things and have the lightning symbol found here. Simply play the card and apply the effect. Or you can attack. Your fighter can attack an adjacent fighter or a fighter in the zone if the fighter is ranged. The zone is any space which shares a color, and some spaces are in multiple zones. To get into combat, play an attack or versatile card with the fighter's name or any face down against an opponent in range. If the opponent chooses to defend, they can defend with a defense or versatile card. Both fighters reveal, then resolve the effects in this order. Immediate effects, during combat effects. Then you compare the attack versus defense value to determine if any damage is dealt. Then you do after combat effects, and note, all ties go to the defender. In the end game continues on until there's only one hero left standing with 1 or more hit points. This is a fantastic quick-paced entry-level fighting game with gorgeous art that will have you wanting to play another round. Highly recommended. And that was Unmatched. I hope you folks enjoy, and until next time, see you later.
Hey folks, and welcome to FOMO, now on Board Game Breakfast, segment where I take a look at a game seeking crowdfunding. Maybe I've got a fear of missing out on it, maybe you do as well, and we take a look together. Today we're going to take a look at Chai Tea for Two. Chai Tea for Two is a follow-up game to Chai that we looked at previously. This time it's for 1 or 2 players. In the game you take on the role of a tea merchant, trying to gain the most victory points. The game ends after 3 to 5 ships have been scored by player, depending on the length of game you want. Each round's made up of steps that complete a single year. First, the starting player decides where to move the tea assistant, which then grants all players a harvest of tea along with a number of tea movements they can spend. Players then simultaneously roll their dice, and starting with the first player, place dice on the board to receive benefits. Players can harvest tea, buy cards from the market, use the palace to manipulate previously purchased cards, claim ships to fulfill their contracts, or send dice to the production board to gain tea movement. As you gain tea leaves and tea plantation cards, you'll start to build up an efficient engine by which you can progress your tea up your player board till it's ready to be boarded on a ship to fulfill an order. Once a player has filled the number of ship contracts agreed upon at the start of the game, the current round's finished and players total up their score from ship contracts and tea plantation cards showing victory points. Player with the most points is the winner. Alright, so that is a brief overview of Chai Tea for Two. Now, I absolutely adored this. I was a little dubious first. I love the original Chai and I liked it at 2 players, so I wasn't sure. But this is a different game. This is in that same familiar universe, and it's playing with tea. I love that, but this feels different. What this really does for me is replace games like Puerto Rico that I never really cared for at 2 players to begin with, and now I have something that I do enjoy that scratches that itch, that feels more modern, a little less problematic, and I just really enjoyed this. It's a deluxe feel. I love the way that it starts out. Everyone's on the same playing field, and I'm building my own engine. Overall, high FOMO for me. If it interests you, go check out their Kickstarter page, and I'll see you folks next time here on Board Game Breakfast.
And that's it for another Board Game Breakfast, folks. Thanks so much for joining us. We're glad to be back and running things smoothly. We'll be a little shorter next week because we won't have 3 weeks of news to catch up on, unless, of course, major stuff happens. Don't forget our contest. Go back at the beginning of the show and see if you can enter that to win your own copy. So go back and check that at the beginning. Other than that, we'll see you all later. Lots of videos coming up later on today. We're reviewing Red Rising. Finally! What do we think of it? You'll see then. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Mike Delisio.
And I'm the most Italian, Stephen Bonacor.
Outrageous.
I determine who's Italian. See y'all next time.
Have fun eating lasagna.
Yeah, without ground beef.
Anyway.